determined happened is that organizations had blocked 20 plus rooms.
Mr. Franklin, can you please mute your phone?
And then call, they.
Hello, good morning, Vice Chair. Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Yeah, it's Ed Bennett. Everyone, whoever is on the call, good morning. Call for Health, Education, and Human Service Committee, regular meeting, December 14th, 2022. Honorable Paul Begay Jr.
Delegate Paul Begay is present.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. is present. Honorable Pranal Halona.
Delegate Halona is present. Good morning.
Honorable Pranal Halona is present. Honorable Carl R. Slater.
Present.
Honorable Carl Slater is present. Honorable Charlene So.
I'm present.
Honorable Charlene So is present. Honorable Daniel Eso. Honorable Edison J. Wanika. Once again, Honorable Daniel Eso. Honorable Edison J. Wanika. Vice Chair, you have 4 members present.
Thank you. Delegate Halona, can you do an invocation for us? Delegate Begay, Shamela, could you do an invocation for us if Delegate Halona is not available?
Vice Chair Shamela, I'll be happy to provide the invocation this morning. Colleagues on the HESI committee, good morning, staff, and all those that are listening in. Question yadadi ni thadi inlini ke di benvi kodon jungo iya ke hana ota gana ho ade ndigini da hollano de hodigin has ade ni kinadin di benvi ho iya ni kinan shanati ne Health, Education, Human Services in hitchi go bishmasa anabetan das ne lo hatego da hini to ko na hat agi bini ko kinani ko ado la dishbe han bi ajata isa ko ba ki nitin sitwadi in lini ko den kuije in hiton lo do kuite ka liadon hikden e ba ki nitin di benebi do ya te ho da ni ta to di ko de bika ho ka to le ki agenda holga ki AD ki John go da ni sabe dano di ai ishin da kushin da so ida ateo ban to di ke so ya ateo ba ya da di ki to na sabe ko da na ado ya neche ya hanna adi le ki da so da habe hon la shkini tudin lini to na ya pasodil no way don lin ki ti do chi don li Sagi nahas kajin he kedon hidden edan lingin the masan he ne nala kine nala sad art has tuida ni diki teaching ya yat ba huiliado le sat eko hala yat eko da oichi da ni klido ste tahta di kado do klido ke bi dan ni kon yan hiya da hos at ni kita des ingo ba he ni Dishin get out ego ban sunani kisto lit ba na huiliado. Nada haliana get out got ego iba huiliado lit. Halaba da hacho ba do alo le. Ade do lihi o tanil ako. Ako eke be ka nail what do le sti lini. Hakas bi bo na hol ji sti de khay. Ako aye go lahon da hasti. Ajashin yasin lini. But the train lane eba hehni zinde a bihlot dahon ago batlinda hawa kon has ango na hol yoshdi in lini kon he keda so qasod dilzen chizait so yani den le toiten le da so bet be na ho na gaigo to tahliki qal da da so na khaba hol yoshdi in lini ya eko iya nikeda to kha ni kashmish be yiboda na dil jishat eko ayo nedo jo ba be chinsi kiso lishtin lini ashkonde di koya a dobana o khat estra lini konde on kitna hun plondo le di o hayugo ya ba shete nit ni khollo koda so ya ne ben hikish ni kijisentle ko ba shehni shin lini ko كنت سقوية صدق إشكال دولت صدق نبنا بناشني دولت نهيغان هز آجي هو وان هز آجي نخال شن بالكيك ويتينجي هذا نخدار نشي سلاو هذا زي إن سلاو صودن ل صيات إيكوية بسوديل زن دولت كان زادن دا كشت خادين ليني دي سلاو صودن لني تخد نادة كي هذا da yudan zada adas an da kaika ya teo iya po maya natsado beja natsado ba chne ya natsado ogan haz age edi ya natsado le khash din linin khaba li khoda hon sogo iso dizin ishlado le yod Jesus Christ beja benash iso des amen.
Thank you very much. Committee members, are there any announcements? Okay, hearing none. There's a proposed NABI, I believe, at 9 tomorrow, and then a proposed nomination council session at 2 p.m. I believe the cutoff for submitting your signature for the special session is at 1:45 today so that they can post it with enough time. Committee members, we'll move on. Thank you to all the guests and visiting officials who are on the line and joining us today for our meeting. Can we have staff please read the proposed agenda into the record and then notify us if there are any other legislations that are eligible for committee action that did not make it onto the agenda? Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee, you have your proposed agenda for the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee, 24th Navajo Nation Council, December 14th, 2022, 10 a.m. Presiding the Honorable Daniel E. So, Chairperson, the Honorable Carl R. Slater, Vice Chairperson. Location is via telecommunications, Winter Rock, Navajo Nation, Arizona. 1, call meeting to order, roll call, invocation, announcements. 2, recognize guests and visiting officials. 3, review and adopt the agenda. 4, review and adopt the journals. You have October 12th, 2022, October 26th, November 9th, November 18th, November 21st, and November 30th, all 2022. 5 is receiving reports. A is a report from the Division of Social Services regarding the Department of Family Services update. And it is regarding the general wage adjustment. Might have to, I'll clarify that. Presenters are Brenda Sosi, Principal Accountant, Division of Social Services, Resita Toddy, HR Classification and Pay Manager, DPM, Garrick Sosi, Position Control Analyst, Support Services, DPM, Deanna Neswood Gishi, Division Director for Navajo Division of Social Services, Regina Yazzie, Program Manager 3, Department of Family Services, and DSS. 6, old business, none. 7, new business. You have your legislation number 235-22. B is legislation number 023922. C is legislation number 024522. And also, number 8 is close of meeting announcements and adjournment. Mr. Vice Chair, the other legislation that was forwarded to the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee for action is tracking number 0226-22. And the sponsor is Delegate Vince James, who is on the line. And it's an act relating to the Law and Order, Health, Education, Human Services, and the Budget and Finance Committees, amending the FY 2023 Budget Instructions Manual to implement salary schedules BS for Department of Criminal Investigation, civilian employees, and salary schedule BZ for clinical license emergency medical services employee positions, and to provide for the FY 2023 general wage adjustment of 5%. Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you very much, Ms. Benali. Committee members, the chair will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as read into the record and would encourage you to add legislation 22622 to our proposed agenda. Thank you.
Motion, Delegate Begay, to also include the said legislation to be included in the agenda. Thank you.
Second, Halona.
The chair recognizes a motion from Delegate Begay and a second from Delegate Halona, and it will also include 22622 as the last item under new business, assuming there's no dissent from that. Committee members, is there any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, can we please have a second reading of the agenda, including 22622 staff? Thank you. Then please go to a roll call vote.
Yes, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee, you have your proposed agenda for as a regular meeting for December 14th, 2022, and amended and added to the agenda that was previously read into record would be 7D, 7 new business D, and it would be legislation number 0226-22, an action relating to the Law and Order, Health, Education, Human Services, and Budget and Finance Committees, amending the FY 2023 Budget Instructions Manual to implement salary schedule BS for Department of Criminal Investigation, civilian employees, and salary schedule BZ for clinical license emergency medical employee positions, and to provide for the FY 2023 general wage adjustment of 5%. And the legislation, we did receive the committee report from the LOC, and it was referred to the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee in that manner. Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you. We'll move to a vote now.
Vice Chair, roll call vote for amending and adopting the agenda with adding on 0226-22. Honorable Paul Begay Jr., how do you vote?
Delegate Paul Begay votes green.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Purnell Halona, how do you vote? Honorable Purnell Halona, how do you vote? Honorable Charlene So, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Honorable Charlene So votes green. Honorable Purnell Halona, how do you vote? Honorable Edison J. Wanika. Honorable Purnell Halona votes green. Honorable Edison J. Wanika, how do you vote? Vice Chair, you have 3 in favor and 2 not voting. Vice Chair?
Thank you. We have an adopted agenda. we'll move on to the journals. Staff, can you please read the titles of the journals?
Can you do that, Karen?
Yes. Review and adopt the journals for October 12th, 2022, October 26th, 2022, November 9th, 2022, November 18th, 2022, November 21st, 2022, November 30th, 2022. Vice Chair, I sent this email out to the HES committee on December 13th at 9:37 a.m. Vice Chair?
Thank you. The chair is open to a motion to adopt the journals.
Chair, I'll motion to adopt the journals. Thank you.
Second, Alona.
The chair recognizes a motion from Delegate Begay and a second from Delegate Alona to adopt the journals as read into the record. Committee members, is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, staff, can you please do a roll call vote on the adoption of the journals?
Vice Chair, roll call vote for reviewing and adopting the journals. Honorable Paul Begay Jr., how do you vote?
Delegate Paul Begay votes green.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Pernell Haluna, how do you vote?
Alona votes green.
Honorable Pernell Haluna votes green. Honorable Charlene So, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Honorable Charlene So votes green. Honorable Daniel Ito, how do you vote? Honorable Edison J. Wanika, how do you vote? Once again, Honorable Daniel Ito, how do you vote? Honorable Edison J. Wanika, how do you vote? Vice Chair, you have 3 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 not voting. Vice Chair?
Thank you very much. The journals are adopted. We'll move on to 5A, reports. Staff, can you please read the title of the report? Well, I can read it right now. It's Division of Social Services, Department of Family Services Update. Presenters Brenda Sosi, Resita Toddy, Garrick Sosi, Deanna Neswood-Gishi, and Regina Yazzie. Do we have the DSS staff on the line?
Mr. Chair, yes, there are. I believe I saw Regina, yeah. We have I do see Roz Begay and from DPM is our Resita Toddy, and earlier I did see Garrick.
Good morning, Mr. Vice Chair Slater. This is Rosalind with Division of Social Services. Our Deputy Division Director is on the line, Marlinda Littleman. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, this is Brenda Sosi as well. I'm on the call.
So we need to start doing some background work on the new delegates.
Ms. Littleman, you're recognized to initiate the presentation and go to the other presenters as you see fit. Thank you.
Okay, New Mexico delegates, just like what I did with Eli?
Yes. Like
okay.
What I did with,
okay.
The profile. It doesn't have to be that long, but look at.
There's someone who needs to mute themselves, the FTR, EJO.
This is the contract tracers, the original.
Good morning. This is Marlinda Littleman, Deputy Director with Division of Social Services. Our Executive Director is on travel today and has other commitments. So I just need clarification. The report that we're given is on the general wage adjustment. Or is it on the Northern Treehouse? The agenda that we received did not specify either. May I get clarification on that before we proceed?
Mr. Vice Chair? This is Angelita
I,
Benelli.
I can provide the clarification. Please wait, Ms. Benelli. At the last meeting, there were, I believe, 3 items that we wanted to discuss. One was the general wage adjustment across the board for the Division of Social Services, and we asked for a written update report that has been provided to the committee as of this morning. And I know that the program that was particularly impacted by that was the Department of Family Services. Second, we wanted, I believe, as Ms. Trudy Sosi to be on the line to answer some questions regarding Northern Treehouse because she was not able to attend the meeting last week. And then third, I had asked yesterday and also to Ms. Benali, yesterday to your director and then also to Ms. Benali for an update on the employees from the Department of Family Services that had not been paid, I think from the last pay period. And it's my understanding that Ms. Sosi is on leave this week due to some family issues. And so we'll respect that and defer that portion of the agenda to the next meeting so that we can hear directly from her. We already heard from the relevant agents today. But what we need to hear from you today is an update on the general wage adjustment and then also on your employees that have not been paid. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Slater. We will proceed with those 3 reports. And then just for brief introductions on my part, Nishlanagi, Maidishkijni Nishlet, Zilana Bashichin, Tedeshkijni Dashache, Nakaidene Additionale. Again, thank you. And we will proceed with our report. So the first one, the general wage adjustment, I will yield the floor to Brenda Sosi, our principal accountant, who will provide an update. And then thereafter, we'll give time to Regina Yazzie to give her an update on the Northern Treehouse. So for now, I'll turn the time over to Brenda Sosi. Brenda, you may proceed. She must be having some technical difficulties, so I will go ahead and just give a brief overview. As far as the general.
What about, Merlinda, can you hear me now? This is Brenda.
Oh, yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead, proceed.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Brenda Sosi, and I work with the Office of the Executive Director. And I've been helping with Department of Family Services accounting functions since February of this year. So on the general wage adjustment that I have been working on for the current one of the salary scale, BQ scale, is the one that we have worked on, and pretty much all the budget revisions, everything was completed, and the PAF, the Personnel Action Forms 2 has been updated. So right now the payroll back pay forms have been completed as well, and that has been submitted as well. So far, each employee would have at least 8 pages of back pay request forms. So it will take some time for the review from OOC. So that's how far that the GWA on that has been done. And on the other scales that we've been mentioning, that's the BJ scale, that also the reconciliation of the personnel costs has been completed. And so going back to, because of the way that the funding was received from 638, during the time, I'll use FY or calendar year 22 as an example, because BIA doesn't provide the funding, or we don't receive the funding until, late February, March. What has happened, this is also prior years, is the first 3 months will be funded by the previous year. And then when the new funding comes in, then the new account will be used to fund the positions as well. So for this case, for last calendar year 22, there were 3 business units that were used because we were waiting for the allocation. So that's the reason why there were 3 different personnel worksheets that had to be created, and to make certain that there are funding in those positions, which, like I had indicated, that has been done for the BQ scale. Now going back to the other BJ scale and the BC scale, that's prior years, the same thing has happened as well. There were different business units that were used, which were reconciled, and everything on the accounting part was completed. Now, since Office of the Controller has closed those accounts, which they use the method of first in, first out, what needs to happen there is they need to reverse some of those entries to put the account back into the positive. So that way the funding will be available to pay those other general wage adjustments that needs to be paid. So that I am working with Office of the Controller, and we've been on the same page. I'm working with the accountant there, Anna, and we've been working together on doing, like I said, reversing the entries that she had done. So that way we'll have funds available. So that's the next task. So those are not very many. I mean, it's still significant hours, but it's not as like the way that BQ scale, where it was 88 hours we were working with. This other one is, less hours than that. I was calculating at 1,256 on the BQ scale. The BJ scale was 256 hours. So that we're still working on. So that's the update on the GWA. Then on the staff that didn't get paid, the 10 staff that we were talking about, there were what had happened was we received funding from BIA. BIA gave us the allocation, and budget was prepared, and it was entered into the FMIS system. And the automation request form to request for personnel to be extended to the end of December, that was prepared and was sent to OMB. At that time, OMB noticed that that grant award was for a different purpose and it wasn't for personnel. So those entries were reversed, and I had to do another budget revision to correct that and put more funding into those positions. So right now, that budget revision, it quickly went through the Office of the Controller as well, and now it's over at OMB right now. And I've been working with, the individual that's assigned to us there, and we're also on the same page where she'll review that budget revision, and from there, once we get a transmittal letter on that budget revision, we'll be able to request for a special payroll run to run those checks. So we are aiming at Friday at the most to ask for the special payroll run. Mr. Chair, that's my report.
Thank you, Brenda. And we may proceed with our next report on the Northern Treehouse, and that will be provided by Regina Yazzie. Regina?
Good morning, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee, and everyone on the call. This is Regina Yazzie. I'm the Department Manager for Department of Family Service. The report that was submitted for Northern Tree House Shelter in Shiprock, just basically just a brief overview of that, is that on December 13th, as of today, the 14th rather, the shelter remains closed to 24/7 operations. However, the workers there, there are two of them, Ms. Sosi and then also another worker, have been continuing to provide services as it relates to crisis intervention, providing transportation and placement in other shelters when needed by victims who request for that. Those are continuing. And then on November 10, there were 7 applicants received for the victim witness advocate position. On the 15th of November, 4 applicants were selected to fill the vacant position. They were interviewed and selected by Ms. Sosi. And as of the 21st, also November 21st, 5 applicants were interviewed for the residential caseworker position. And on November 29, 2 applicants were selected to fill the 2 vacant positions. And they were informed to begin their background check at that time. So at this point, for those positions, the victim witness advocate and the residential caseworker positions, the OBI, Office of Background Investigation, background check remains pending and outstanding for those applicants. They're still going through. So we've not received any word back as to their favorability of the positions. Once that's received, then we will proceed with the paperwork to hire. We are hoping within the next 30 days, if at all possible, with Office of Background Investigation, getting all those that paperwork through for hire with OOC and DPM. The next area here is Ms. Sosi has been utilizing her annual leave hours throughout the year, therefore will not be losing any annual leave hours at the end of the year. And basically further on, when she is on leave, there is a delegation by Vera Blackwater, who is the principal social worker out of the Shiprock field office, who's delegated in place of her. Ms. Sosi is out this week and will return until next week. Let's see. The statistics, some of the statistics there, as of January 10th to December 13th, there were a total of 135 people served, 91 of which were women, 20 were men, and 24 were children. Services included shelter placement, court support services, safety planning with the victims, referrals out to outside resources, providing transportation to victims who requested for those services, and then safety follow-up with the victims themselves. majority of them, 129 of them were Navajo members and 6 were non-Navajo members. Phone calls included the crisis line. There were 71 crisis line calls. After hour calls, there were 23. After hours, meaning after 5 and even on weekends and holidays, calls are taken as well. And then information calls, there were 49. These are the statistics and the report that was submitted by Ms. Sosi herself. Any questions at this time? Mr. Vice Chair?
Thank you, Regina. Vice Chair Slater, we'll turn the time back to you.
Thank you, committee members. The chair will entertain a motion to accept, and then we'll go to questions on the report.
Motion, Helena?
Delegate Paul Begay will second.
Chair recognizes a motion from Delegate Halona and a second from Delegate Begay. Committee members, the floor is open for questions and discussion. Questions and discussion going twice? Okay, since I'm chair of the committee right now, I can't engage in debate, but I can share information to the program on behalf of the committee. And that information is that the committee has asked the Office of Legislative Counsel to look into what measures we can pursue as a committee or individual delegate members of the committee to compel action on the general wage adjustments and the pay that was not provided to employees recently, including the withholding of pay from, I guess, the executive officers of the program, the relevant programs, and the division director. So I know that Legislative Counsel is currently evaluating that and is going to return some information back to the committee. Now, committee members, is there any further questions or discussion? Okay, not hearing any. We'll proceed to a roll call vote on acceptance of report 5A. Staff, can you please do the vote?
Vice Chair, roll call vote on accepting the report from Division of Social Services. Honorable Paul Begay Jr., how do you vote?
Delegate Paul Begay votes green.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Purnell Halona, how do you vote? Honorable Charlene So, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Honorable Charlene So votes green. Honorable Daniel Eso, how do you vote? Honorable Edison J. Wanika, how do you vote? Honorable Purnell Halona, how do you vote?
Vote votes green.
Honorable Purnell Halona votes green. Vice Chair, you have 3 in favor, 0 opposed, Vice Chair not voting, and 2 not voting. Vice Chair?
Thank you. We'll proceed to item 6, old business none. Item 7 is new business. Staff, can you please read 7A legislation 23522 into the record? Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Vice Chair and members of the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee, you have your 6 old business, none, 7 new business. A is legislation number 0235-22. And I'm sorry, okay, I'm here. You have your proposed standing committee resolution 24th Nomination Council 4th year 2022, introduced by Council Delegate Daniel So and co-sponsored by Delegate Edison Winika. Tracking number is 0235-22. An action relating to Health, Education, and Human Services Committee approving and enacting to the Navajo Nation Board of Education Plan of Operation. The legislation number 0235-22, the Health, Education, and Human Services has final authority for this legislation, and it has been electronically read into record. It does exhibits A, B, and also exhibit a portion to A is the 2018 Board of Education Operating Procedures Manual. And the legislation has gone through the public comment period and no comments were received. Mr. Chair, Vice Chair.
Thank you. Do we have Chair Daniel So or Delegate Winika on the line?
Vice Chair Slater, Delegate Paul Begay.
Yes, Delegate Begay, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I know that the Chair is in DC today on business, and also Honorable Delegate Juanica has an appointment and he has not returned yet. If I am in order, I would like to suspend floor rules and modify the agenda so we put legislation 235-22 at the end of the legislation that are listed on the agenda. Thank you.
Delegate Begay, I'll give a couple options right now on how we can proceed. One is we skip over it and I can recall it later because it already exists on our agenda. 2, we could modify and formally put it at the end of the agenda. And then 3, you could co-sponsor the legislation and present it to the committee. Is there someone trying to call my name?
This is Delegate Winika. I'm coming in.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Winika. You're on the line. So we are in conformance with the rules. And committee members, the legislation title has been read into the record. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt the legislation.
Delegate Paul Begay will motion to adopt the legislation.
Second, Halona.
The chair recognizes a motion from Delegate Begay and a second from Delegate Halona. Committee members, chair is open to discussion or questions. Going twice. Going 3 times. Staff, please proceed to a roll call vote on legislation 235-22.
Vice Chair, roll call vote for Legislation 0235-22, Honorable Paul Begay Jr., how do you vote?
Delegate Paul Begay votes green.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Purnell Halona, how do you vote?
Hello, votes green.
Honorable Purnell Halona votes green. Honorable Charlene So, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Honorable Charlene So votes green. Honorable Daniel Eso, how do you vote? Honorable Edison J. Wanika, how do you vote?
Green.
Honorable Edison J. Wanika votes green. Chair, you have 4 in favor, 0 opposed. Vice Chair not voting and 1 not voting. Vice Chair?
Thank you. Please excuse Chair Daniel So from the prior and subsequent votes from now. Committee members, the next legislation is 23922. It's my legislation. Delegate Begay, Chanela, can I ask that you pro tem at this time?
Vice Chair, Honorable Delegate Edison Wanika volunteered already to the chair. Thank you.
Che, I'm handing the virtual gavel over to you.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair. Ms. Manali, can you read the legislation to the record, please?
Yes, Mr. Vice Chair Wanika, and members of the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee, you have your 7B, which is legislation number 0239-22. And it is a proposed Navajo Nation Council resolution, 24th Navajo Nation Council, 4th year 2022. Primary sponsor is Carl R. Slater. Tracking number is 0239-22, an action relating to the Health, Education, Human Services, the Budget and Finance, and the Navigatia committees, and to the Navajo Nation Council, approving $111,554 from the unreserved undesignated fund balance, UUFB in parentheses, for the Department of Diné Education for internet costs at 56 sites, waiving 12 NNC, Section 820E, Section 820F, Section 820J, and Section 820L. The legislation does move on to the Budget and Finance Committee after Hess has considered it. Mr. Vice Chair or Mr. Chair Pro Tem. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Manali. Committee members, I need a motion and a second.
Motion, Delegate Begay.
Motion by Delegate Begay. Committee members, I need a second to this legislation.
I'll second.
Thank you, Vice Chair Slater. Committee members, any questions? Going twice? Going 3 times? Karen, give us the vote on this.
Pro Tem Wanika, roll call vote for accepting legislation 0239-22. Honorable Purnell, Honorable Paul Begay Jr., how do you vote?
Delegate Paul Begay votes green.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Purnell Halona, how do you vote?
World votes green.
Honorable Purnell Halona votes green. Honorable Charlene So, how do you vote? Honorable Carl R. Slater, how do you vote?
Green.
Honorable Carl Slater votes green. Honorable Charlene So, how do you vote? Pro Tem Wanika, you have 3 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 excused, and Pro Tem not voting.
Thank you, Karen. We'll give the virtual chair back to, Vice Chair Slater. Aspira.
Thank you very much, committee members. That's an important legislation to make sure that we have internet at our chapters. Moving on, I believe we're at legislation 24522. Do we have Delegate Charles Newton on the line?
I am on the line. This is Delegate Charles Newton.
Thank you. Staff, can you please read legislation 24522 into the record?
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee, you have your proposed standing committee resolution to the Nomination Council for year 2022, introduced by Council Delegate Eugenia Charles Newton, co-sponsored by Delegate Carl R. Slater. Tracking number is 0245-22, an action relating to the Health, Education, and Human Services, Law and Order, Budget and Finance, and Navigatia committees, approving and authorizing the mutual aid intergovernmental (in brackets) agreement between the Navajo Nation Division of Public Safety, Navajo Police Department, and the City of Page, Arizona. The legislation does move on to the Law and Order Committee after the Health, Education, and Human Services has considered it. There attached are exhibits A for the legislation, exhibits B, and the legislation has gone through the public comment period. And it does not indicate that any public comments were received during that time. Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you. The chair is open to a motion to adopt the legislation.
Delegate Paul Begay motions.
Second, Wanika.
Chair recognizes a motion from Delegate Begay and a second from Delegate Wanika. Committee members, are there questions or discussion on legislation 24522? Going twice? This legislation moves on to three other committees, or two committees in the Nomination Council, I believe. Staff, can you please proceed to a roll call vote? Hearing no questions or discussion on 24522.
Vice Chair, roll call vote to accept legislation 0245-22. Honorable Paul Begay Jr., how do you vote?
Delegate Paul Begay votes green.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Pernell Halona, how do you vote?
Hello, votes green.
Honorable Pernell Halona votes green. Honorable Charlene So, how do you vote? Honorable Edison J. Winika, how do you vote?
Green.
Honorable Edison J. Winika votes green. Honorable Charlene So, how do you vote? Vice Chair, you have 3 in favor, 0 opposed, Vice Chair not voting, and 1 excused, and 1 not voting. Vice Chair?
Thank you very much. Committee members, I believe we're moving to legislation 22622. Can you please read the legislation title into the record?
Yes, Mr. Chair, you have the next legislation is 7D, which is legislation number 0226-22. You have your proposed standing committee resolution 24th Nomination Council, introduced by Council Delegate Vince James as sponsor. Tracking number is 0226-22, an act relating to the Law and Order, Health, Education, Human Services, and Budget and Finance Committees, amending the FY 2023 Budget Instructions Manual to implement Salary Schedule BS for Department of Criminal Investigation, civilian employees, and Salary Schedule BZ for clinical license emergency medical services employee positions, and to provide for the FY 2023 general wage adjustment of 5%. The legislation does move on to the Budget and Finance Committee. The exhibits are attached up to the schedule, up from exhibits A through F. And also the legislation has gone through the comment period. There were 15 comments received that were in support of the legislation, and there were none opposing, and there were 2 comments received regarding for this legislation. And it also attaches the Law and Order Committee report dated December 12th, 2022, and considers and reports a due pass with no amendments. Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you very much, committee members. The chair is open to a motion to adopt the legislation.
Motion, Monica.
Second, Alona.
The chair recognizes the motion from Delegate Wanika and a second from Delegate Halona. I do want to confirm that we have Delegate James on the line. I know he was on earlier.
Should say Delegate James on the line.
Thank you very much. Committee members, are there any questions or discussion on 22622? Going twice. Hearing none, staff, please proceed to a roll call vote on legislation 22622.
Vice Chair, roll call vote to accept legislation 0226-22. Honorable Paul Begay Jr., how do you vote?
That was a call, Dave, votes green.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Pranal Halona, how do you vote?
Halona votes green.
Honorable Pranal Halona votes green. Honorable Charlene So, how do you vote? Honorable Edison J. Wanika, how do you vote?
Green.
Once again, Honorable Charlene So, how do you vote? Vice Chair, you have 3 in favor, 0 opposed, Chair not voting, 1 excused, and 1 not voting. Vice Chair?
Thank you very much. We'll move on to item 8, close of meeting, announcements, adjournment. Committee members, any announcements? Okay, well, as I said earlier, at the top of the agenda, I believe we have a proposed 9 a.m. NABI, and then a proposed 2 p.m. special council session, and the cutoff time for getting your signature in for
Can you make sure
the.
this is set up?
Okay, thank you for muting yourself. I think it was conveyed that the cutoff time for the special council session signature to the Office of Legislative Services is 1:45 p.m. today. The chair is open to a motion to adjourn.
Motion, Delegate Paul Begay.
Second, Monica.
Chair recognizes the motion from Delegate Begay and a second from Delegate Wanika. Staff, can you please do a roll call vote on the motion to adjourn?
Vice Chair, roll call vote for adjournment. Honorable Paul Begay Jr., how do you vote?
Delegate Paul Begay votes green.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Pranal Halona, how do you vote?
Votes green.
Honorable Pranal Halona votes green. Honorable Charlene So, how do you vote? Honorable Edison J. Wanika, how do you vote?
Green.
Honorable Edison J. Wanika votes green. Once again, Honorable Charlene So. Vice Chair, you have 3 in favor, 0 opposed, Chair not voting, 1 excused, and 1 not voting. Vice Chair?
Thank you. The committee is adjourned at 11:14 p.m. Everyone have a good rest of your day. Take care of your communities, your families, and your friends, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Go now.
Thank you, Vice Chair and members of the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee.